Hey, this is Kampai Cam, and as anyone who follows me would know, I'm obsessed with Japan. Now, usually this channel is dedicated to getting out into nature in Japan, but for this video, I'm going to do something a little different. Distill down 10 helpful tips for getting around, eating well, traveling on a budget, and more. These are sure to save you time and hassles in the land of the rising sun, so let's get to it. First up, arguably the single most useful thing to have in Japan is a SUICA or Pasmo card.
It's my first time in Japan, but Tokyo's trains and buses have so many routes and lines. It's so complicated. Isn't there an easier way to travel?
The SUICA card is all you need.
Simply put money on one of these travel cards and you can tap your way through the vast majority of transport options. That alone is a massive deal, but IC cards are so much more than that, as they're also digital wallets, letting you pay for purchases at a wide variety of retailers, not to mention many vending machines and other places. And when you need to top it up, head to a train station and it's simplicity itself.
Reporting ticket. Charge complete.
One note though, not all public transport accepts IC cards, so for something like the Shinkansen, you'll need to book an actual ticket before you can hop aboard. Thankfully, it's not hard to work out the exceptions. Oh, and if you're planning on using the card on future trips, avoid getting the welcome SUICA, as this expires after 28 days. If this is likely to be your one and only trip on the other hand, then this is the cheapest option. You'll just have to be sure to spend any money on it before you leave. Lastly, some breaking news. Sales of SUICA and Pasmo cards have been limited as of June 2023 due to chip shortages, so you'll need to check on that ahead of your trip. If nothing has changed, there are options. You'll still be able to get the welcome SUICA. There are other interchangeable cards still available, and if you have an iPhone, you can actually add a virtual Pasmo or SUICA card to your wallet. Japan is definitely less of a cash society now than it once was, which means you can pay for a plethora of purchases with a credit card. But how to avoid being hit by currency conversion fees? By paying in yen, of course. One of the simplest ways to do this is by opening an account with Wise, Revolut or the like, as these bank alternatives let you have sub-accounts in different currencies, allowing you to pay directly in yen with no fees. I went with Wise, although obviously do your own research, and it's been a game changer. You will still need cash, of course, so the main caveat to be aware of with something like Wise is that there's a relatively low limit for how much cash you can take out of an ATM without a fee. Even so, the fee after that may still compare favourably to what your bank will charge, so do the math and go from there. The JR Pass gives you free travel on all JR services, including the Shinkansen, for a set period of time, 7, 14 or 21 days. It's been the go-to option for anyone planning to travel around Japan for as long as I can remember, but that's all about to change. As of October 2023, the price of a JR Pass is increasing by almost 70%, taking it from being pretty reliably worth it to not even really close, unless you're getting a bullet train basically every day. Now, the good news for anyone planning a trip to Japan this year is that even if you're going in, say, December, you can still buy a JR Pass at the old price in late September, as you actually have 3 months to activate it. The good news for those hoping to go at some indeterminate point in the future is that there are a number of regional passes available, so you may just want to focus on a particular area as opposed to roaming widely. You may also want to look into regional flights, as they can be quite affordable, as compared to bullet trains, which are often far and away the most expensive part of moving around the country. This change is definitely going to impact holidays in Japan, but don't let that put you off. Or at least fast track that holiday and do it this year. Getting around big cities like Tokyo and Osaka is ridiculously easy once you wrap your head around their rail networks. No, you don't actually need to be able to plan a route through the coloured spaghetti explosions that are the various lines. What you do need to understand is the fact that Japanese cities typically have both JR lines and several private lines, so you'll routinely use a combination of them all. You'll get off a train at a JR station, then head underground to a nearby subway station to continue on your journey. It sounds daunting, but in practice it's pretty straightforward, and is helped along significantly by how far Google Maps, and presumably its competitors, has come in recent years. Just punch in where you want to go and you can pull up a range of public transportation options. The app factors in walking time for changing lines, and so on. You can also set your departure time, the time you want to arrive, and plenty of other options like lowest cost or fewest transfers. It's not always perfect. Google Maps has definitely screwed me on a handful of occasions, and its propensity to sometimes stubbornly forget the options it displayed only minutes earlier is baffling, but it's still an excellent baseline. Trains usually come every few minutes in the big cities and run until around midnight, only resuming at about 5 AM. Not every city is built around trains, however. Kyoto, for instance, has pretty patchy train coverage, so you'll probably also need to use as many buses. I've certainly found myself relying a lot on buses in Japan to get out to trailheads outside of cities and towns. It's definitely worth double checking the bus times that apps like Google Maps give you, but from there, as long as you have a mobile phone in your pocket, as well as a charged up IC card, you'll be fine. Obviously, for that last point to work, you also need to have plenty of data. Wait, not data, data. Not only is it key to getting around, it's also invaluable when out and about, from translating menus or signs into English to using the apps at amusement parks. Thankfully, getting set up is easier than ever. My phone provider here in Australia has a pretty reasonably priced international roaming service, so that's what I currently use, but you could also rent a Wi-Fi device, or better still, organise for a Japanese SIM ahead of time. They're really quite affordable these days. It often feels like you can't go more than a block in a major Japanese city without coming across a convenience store, aka a Conbini. They're quite literally everywhere, and not only that, they're actually great. Conbinis are one-stop shops for everything from small snacks to full meals, from cool drinks to hot coffees and warming treats in the depths of winter. They have way more than just food too, and almost always have bathrooms that customers can use, as well as ATMs that will generally work with international cards. Conbinis in Japan are something of a revelation. Oh, and if you find yourself in need of a bin when out and about, Conbinis generally have trash and recycling bins just inside the door, so pop in as needed. Food in Japan is typically fantastic. This is a country in which it's hard to have a bad meal. Well, after breakfast at least, where the options can be a little on the dubious side. This means that you can get by on a budget, feeling confident eating at random, hole-in-the-wall restaurants. It's even easier than ever to surmount the language barrier too. Once upon a time, I'd used the displays of plastic food outside many restaurants to see what kind of cuisine they served, but nowadays I can largely rely on Google Translate to help me decipher Japanese menus and sake lists. Whoa, it makes sense! I found real-time speech translation, on the other hand, a little more hit and miss. I guess it's probably my accent? If you want to stick to a budget, take advantage of the lunch set specials many restaurants have, as they're often great value and offer up plenty of variety in one meal. Conbinis are a good backup too, and their fresh food is replaced daily. Oh, and if you really want to save, supermarkets and Conbini often slash prices in the evening. As do Departica, the food halls often under big department stores. Head to them an hour or so out from closing time and pick up some bargains. You're spoiled for choice when it comes to accommodation in Japan. From modern luxury hotels to cheap and cheerful hostels, from family-run ryokan and onsen resorts to apartments for rent, there are so many styles of accommodation to choose from. Part of the fun of travelling in Japan is seeing what these are all like. After all, if you've never stayed in a capsule hotel, then why not try it? It's definitely an experience. Perhaps the most helpful thing to know though is that Japan has an entire world of business hotels, and these are generally clean and cheap. They historically catered primarily to Japanese business travellers, so the rooms are tiny and they're typically more no-frills than some, but even so, for budget-conscious travellers who don't want to stay in a hostel, these are the way to go. Business hotels are a great option if the location is more important than the room or the view. Just bump the price slider down on the TripAdvisors and Google Maps of the world. I know embarrassingly little Japanese, but I do enjoy having a few basic phrases to help things along, and Japanese people are typically appreciative that you've made an effort. Here are a few words and phrases that will come in handy, illustrated in the medium of Ghibli. Hai, yes. Iie, no. Arigatou gozaimasu, thank you. Onegai shimasu, please. You can tack this onto any request, i.e., biru onegai shimasu. Sumimasen, excuse me. Gomen nasai, sorry. Daijoubu, okay or no problem. Ohayou gozaimasu, good morning. Konnichiwa, hello or good day. Konban wa, good evening. Osusume wa nan desu ka? What do you recommend? You can also just say osusume, it's the golden word in Japan. Hip-hop ga suki desu, I like hip-hop. Swap in whatever words you want here, as maybe you're more into 145 BPM UK hardcore breakbeat. Ramen ga daisuki desu. I love ramen. Again, replaced with whatever you want. Kampai, cheers. Wakarimasu, I understand. Wakarimasen, I don't understand. This can also mean I do or don't know. Oishii, delicious. Oishikatta, it was delicious. Gochiso sama deshita, thank you for the meal. You say that on your way out of restaurants. Sugoi, great, and kawaii, cute. One of my absolute favourite things to do in Japan is to relax in bathhouses. I love the ritual of it, sitting at a little stall to wash and then, as clean as I ever get, soaking my stresses away. My favourite onsen all have baths of different shapes, styles, sizes and temperatures, with water of differing mineralities and infusions, alongside saunas, places to sit and cold baths to plunge into. I typically start every trip to Japan with a visit to a bathhouse, and I always seek one out at the end of a long day hiking or sightseeing. The main reason I've included this tip is to say don't be intimidated by the bathhouse experience, as you'll be missing out. Yes, if you have tattoos, you'll need to do some research ahead of time to find tattoo-friendly establishments, but once you've settled on a destination, don't stress about not knowing the rules, as they're not that hard to get your head around. Just wash before you soak, don't let the small towel go in the baths, be polite and respectful of other people, and enjoy yourself. If you found this video useful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share any additional tips in the comments. I guess all that's left to say is safe travels and kampai!